Hi, everyone. My name is Dave Bellizzi. I run the Riding Academy of New Jersey Motorcycle Safety Training School uh, at Montclair State University. We are a provider for the Motorcycle Safety Foundation courses. So let's talk about curve crashes here. We've done a video on what is the best lane to be in. We've also done a little video clip on how to avoid intersection crashes, and they're on YouTube. And you can see those other videos by going to the Writing Tips page of our website, the Writing Academy of NJ. And you can also go on our Facebook page. We posted them there too. And we'll be doing the same with this. We'll be posting this video on our Facebook page and also on our website on the Writing Tips page. All right. So, curves. Curves is actually one of the two most common places where motorcycle crashes occur. All right. So let's talk about them. Let's start off with a little bit of a pop quiz. So what's the ideal speed to ride through any turn or curve? Think about that for a second. The ideal speed to ride through any curve. A little bit of a trick question. It's not a number. It's a speed that enables you to maintain a steady throttle throughout the entire curve. Now, we came up with a concept or an acronym called SLUR. We use it in our motorcycle safety courses. The acronym stands for slow, look, lean, and roll. So let's go over the slow part. So two things about slow. First thing is you want to slow down well before the entrance to the turn. Second thing is you want to slow down by using the brakes. Why? There's three ways you can slow down a motorcycle. You can slow down a motorcycle by using the brakes. You can slow down a motorcycle by rolling off the throttle. And you can also slow down a motorcycle by downshifting to the next lower gear. So the only three ways you can slow down a motorcycle. A lot of people think that pulling the clutch will slow you down. No, it won't. If you're doing 40 miles an hour on the road, you're pulling the clutch, you're still going to be doing 40 miles an hour. If you're going downhill, doing 40 miles an hour, you're pulling the clutch, you're going to go faster. If you're going uphill doing 40 miles an hour pulling the clutch, yeah, you probably will slow down, but you're going to have some different issues. So pulling the clutch will not slow you down. So the best way to slow down, which we recommend, is by using the brakes. Why? Well, you're letting the car drivers, the motorists behind you, know that you're slowing down. Now, most of those people behind you, those motorists, they're not paying attention. They're on a phone, daydreaming, over like that. But by using the brake light, you attract their eye. And they make something called a brake light modulator, which you can buy, which actually pulsates when you slow down. They also sell a bulb that you can put in there that pulsates. And they also have a device which you can put on your helmet, which actually lights up when you slow down a vehicle. So they're really good and really effective here. All right. So we're slowing down well before the entrance of turn, and we're slowing down preferably by using the brakes. Now, when you slow down a motorcycle and any vehicle, where does the weight go? Think about that. You're in a car, you step on the brake, where's the weight go? Well, the weight goes forward. So you got more weight on the front tires than the rear tires, more weight on the front shocks than the rear shocks. So basically, you're unbalanced. Now, traction is critical on a motorcycle because you only have two wheels. So do you want to go through a turn on a motorcycle unbalanced? Well, not me. You can get away with it in a car, and obviously you can get away with a truck, a tractor-trailer truck, because you got 18 wheels, whatever. But again, traction is critical. So I want to level that motorcycle off before I go through the turn. So what can we do to level off the bike before we go through the turn so we have equal balance front and rear? Think about that. Now, what we'll do is if we roll on the throttle slightly, again, rolling on the throttle is like stepping on the gas pedal. So if you step on the gas pedal in the car, where's your weight go? Well, it goes to the rear. So once you slow down that motorcycle, weight's going forward, just kind of rolling the throttle just enough so you have equal weight on the front and the rear, and you maintain that steady throttle through the curve. Now, if you roll the throttle too much, you shifted your weight to the rear, so you're still unbalanced. So as we approach the curve, we slow down well before the entrance of the curve, slow down by using the brakes, and then just before we get into the curve, rolling the throttle just a little bit to level off the weight, and you maintain that steady throttle all the way through the turn. And we call that a good entry speed. If you have to slow down while you're in the turn, you enter that turn too fast. We call that going in hot. And that's the number one reason why motorcycles are crashing in curves. They're going in too fast. And they do the wrong thing, and then bang, hit the guardrail or the oncoming car, whatever. So it's a key message here. Now, what's going to help you enter a turn with a good entry speed? Well, pretty obvious. Slow down. I talked about it before. Slow down well before the entrance to the turn so you can maintain that steady throttle. As we said before, use the brake lights so you're letting people behind you know that they're slowing down. So maybe they see it, notice it, and maybe we'll back off. Maybe. Here we got two signs. Let's talk about the one on the right here. There's actually two signs here. The top one, the transportation, it's a warning sign. The Department of Transportation is warning you that there's a curve coming up to the left, so you can be prepared. The bottom one is an advisory speed sign. So the Department of Transportation is advising you to slow down to 35 miles per hour so you can navigate this turn safely. Now, that speed 35 may be a little bit too fast for some of you novice riders. So maybe you want to slow down to less than 35 miles per hour. So again, these signs, Department of Transportation is helping us, letting us know how we can be safe out there. Read the signs. Again, good entry speed enables you to maintain a steady throttle throughout the entire curve. But everybody has their own personal entry speed based on what? Now, my entry speed is going to be a lot slower than some of my other instructors. I'm a little older, and their skills are better than mine. So what are some of the things that affect entry speed? Obviously, it's going to be your skill, but the type of curve, type of motorcycle. Obviously, the Ducati is going to go through a curve a lot different than a Harley. They're built differently. And also the road and weather conditions, the environment, whether it's raining, the type of road, you got cracks in it, potholes, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera there. All right, let's have a little serious fun here. So here we have Joe Rocket. He's on his motorcycle, and he's out for a ride. He's not paying attention. He might be daydreaming or thinking about a problem, worrying about something, or whatever like that. So Joe Rocket here is doing 55 miles per hour. And since Joe Rocket wasn't paying attention, wasn't scanning aggressively, he didn't see this road sign over here. He didn't see it. And this road sign is indicating that there's a curve coming up to a right with an advisory speed of 35 miles per hour. So he didn't notice it at all. Again, not paying attention, daydreaming, whatever it might be. So now we have Joe Rocket going into this turn at 55 miles per hour. And over here we got a guardrail. Creates a little bit of an issue. So what's going to happen to Joe as he goes into this turn at 55 miles an hour? Yeah, he's going to run wide, something like this. He's going to wind up in the oncoming lane, doing 55. So let's make this scenario a little bit more interesting. Let's add another hazard to it. So now we have Joe Rocket in the oncoming lane doing 55 miles per hour, and oncoming Maserati is doing 35. So Joe's got 2 seconds per impact. So what can Joe do here to avoid the crash? Think about it. What can he do? Well, he's not going to be able to slow down. He's still going to get hit head on. Using the brakes isn't going to do anything. He's still going to get hit. He's not going to be able to swerve because it's just not enough time to do it. So what do? Well, some people say, well, lay the bike down. Well, that's going to hurt too. Or some people say, go off the road. Well, if you go off the road, you can hit that guardrail and go flying. It'll probably kill you too. So what should Joe Rocket do? Well, there's a couple of things. Let's talk about them on this slide. These are important here. They may save your life. Actually, they will save your life if you find yourself in this situation. So number one, what do you want to do with that throttle? Some people say, well, roll off the throttle. Well, let's talk about traction here. Number one, you made one big mistake by going into that turn too fast. So you need the maximum amount of throttle to get out of there in one piece. So if you roll off the throttle, where's your weight going? It's going forward. So now you mess up the traction. So you don't want to do that. Some people say roll on the throttle. Well, that's only going to make the impact sooner. So you don't want to do that. So what do you do with the throttle? You maintain a steady throttle. Hey, Dave, you're telling me maintain a steady throttle while that car's coming right at me? Yeah, but you're going to do some other things too. So keep that steady throttle to maintain the traction. Where do you want to look? Well, a lot of times you get target fixation, you panic, the fight or flight mechanism kicks in, and you stare at that car. You get target fixation. Pupils dilate. And what's going to happen if you're staring at the car, target fixating the car? Well, you're going to wind up French kissing the windshield. So what you need to do is you need to turn your eyes, get your eyes off of that car, and look where you want to end up. Kind of motorcycle kind of goes where you look. So look where you want to end up. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a car in front of you in your lane, look at the back bumper of that car, and you kind of automatically will follow it through the curve. You may want to try that in your car someday. You know, when you're driving in your car and you're going through a curve and there's a car in front of you, just look at the back bumper and you kind of notice that you automatically do what's necessary to follow that car through the curve. So steady throttle, look where you want to end up. And the third thing is you lean more. Now, if you were in a car, you would turn that steering wheel hard right, but you're in a motorcycle. So the way we turn it on a motorcycle is you got to lean hard right. You ever see the racers? Well, they're almost on their sides there. So you really can lean that motorcycle. But an interesting statistic here, motorcycle riders lean only about 30% of what that motorcycle is capable of. Why only 30%? Well, it's fear of falling. So maybe what you want to do is, maybe when you get your own motorcycle or if you've been riding, maybe you want to take the course we often call a trail braking course. We offer it periodically at the Riding Academy, and you can practice leaning more, and you can get better at your turning technique. So if you find yourself in this situation, three things: steady throttle, look where you want to end up, and again, just lean more. And you can do these things, three things, in less than 2 seconds. All right. So that will help you avoid the crash in that situation. But let's analyze this near crash, so to speak. Let's say Joe Rocket had crashed, hit the oncoming car. All right, now you got the police doing an accident investigation. So what's going to be on the police report, which will be recorded on the police report, depending upon how knowledgeable the police are about motorcycles, and they're not that knowledgeable about motorcycle crashes. Nowadays, police officers fill out that report ASAP and with general information because they don't want to get involved with it. Just turn it over to insurance companies. But what's going to be on that police report is motorcycle ran wide, excessive speed, don't get that turn too fast. And these would be attributed to the physical skills. Now, in the basic rider course, we teach that there's 4 subtasks or 4 skills that are needed to be a safe rider. Number 1, you need the physical skills. You got to know how to ride that motorcycle, manipulate all the controls, put it where you want. So you definitely need the physical skills. Number 2, you need mental or perceptual skills. You need to be able to spot hazards early by scanning quickly, using those quarterback eyes that we talk about. Again, that Z pattern, that's in the MSFE course, side to side, up and down. Third thing you need is emotional skills. You need to control your emotions. If you got road rage, you can't have road rage on a motorcycle. Do you have that need for speed? Do you have that adrenaline rush? You got to be able to control that because that can get you into trouble. And you also need the social skills. You be able to cooperate with others in traffic. You need to follow the traffic laws and things like that. But the police report's going to indicate physical skills. But what's the real cause of this crash? The real cause, what's not going to go on the police report. Maybe Joe had that need for speed, as I said before, the adrenaline rush. Or maybe Joe's a high-risk taker. He likes pushing that envelope. Maybe he wasn't paying attention, or maybe just misjudged the curve. So these are actually mental and emotional skills, which I just talked about. So the real cause of the crash were the mental and emotional skills, not the physical skills. In riding a motorcycle safely, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety, they're saying that riding a motorcycle safely is 90% mental and 10% physical. So they realize that what goes on between your ears is more important than how well you handle that car or handle that motorcycle. Again, what's the best way to prevent a motorcycle crash in a turn? Just to reiterate, what's the key word here? It's in red. Slow it down to a good entry speed. Slow it down. Slow it down. I think you got that now. And again, keep your emotions in check. And again, those good perceptual mental skills, keep them sharp. Those quarterback eyes. And these are skills you can practice in your car, skating in your car. Good. If you got that need for speed, what should you do? Yeah, we get various different answers in our class, but basically, if you got that need for speed, it indicates you got a high risk taking level. And since you got a high risk taking level, you need to increase your skill level by taking additional motorcycle courses. Maybe take some of the additional courses that we offer. Maybe take some track days. We had a student, not going to name any names, loved the need for speed. He would go out on the highways at night on Route 21 in the Patterson Clifton area, and he would run that motorcycle with his friends as fast as he could. Sometimes he went out when he had a few drinks while doing that, and he would crash all the time. Like every month, he was coming back with a new motorcycle. So finally, I kind of convinced him to take a track day, go to a track course. He did, fell in love with it. So now he goes to the track like every 2 or 3 weeks with his friends. Loves it. When he's on the street now, he doesn't go faster than the speed limit. But when he gets to that track, that's where he unwinds, and he loves it. He says the best decision he ever made, and he's now got the same motorcycle, so he's not crashing the motorcycle. So you want to have what we call good risk offset. If you took the basic e-course, the most basic course with us or with anybody else, we talked about that risk offset chart. And again, that chart indicates that you want your skill level higher than your risk taking level, right? And it's almost impossible to reduce your risk taking level because, you've got that need for speed or whatever like that. In my 35, 40 years of traffic safety, I've only seen three things that reduce a person's risk taking level. Number one, maybe you were involved in a really bad crash and you walked away in one piece and you made a deal with the man upstairs. Hey, I'm going to ride like an angel for the rest of my life. That's one way. Another way is, maybe once you start approaching the age of the big 50 or 50, you start realizing, hey, I'm not Superman anymore. I can get hurt. If I bust a leg, I'm going to be out of work. I'm not going to be able to this. I'm not going to be able to make the mortgage payments like that. So once we get near 50, we start slowing it down a little bit. Third thing that I've seen reduces a person's risk-taking level is the tracking devices. I used to be the safety and traffic safety director of a school bus company, safety and training director of a school bus company. And we used to have tracking devices in the vehicles, and I was able to watch on a computer how my drivers were driving, where they were going, the speed limits. And they knew Big Brother was watching them, and they obey the traffic laws. So those are the only three things that I'm aware of that help to reduce a person's risk-taking level there. And again, excuse me, your knowledge, being aware of your emotions. So if you're riding out there and you see a curve and you get the feeling, oh, I really want to whack it and go fast, maybe a little voice in your head may say to you, slow it down because we can kind of get into a crash here. Or, again, if you've got the skills by taking additional classes, more training, you'll be able to ride through those turns faster because you got the skills that can do it. So your skill level is still higher than that risk-taking level. All right, you want that good risk offset. Now, just a little bit of a side note: does anybody know what profession has the highest motorcycle crash rate? A lot of people think it's police officers, motorcycle cops, but actually, it's the number two profession with the highest motorcycle crash rate. The profession with the highest motorcycle crash rate is actually soldiers, military personnel. A number of years ago, the Navy came to us, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation, and said, hey, look, we got more soldiers dying on motorcycles than dying in action. What can you do for us here? So the Motorcycle Safety Foundation developed a course called the Military Sport Bike Course, and it really helped to reduce the crashes. And now, if you also are in the military and you want to ride a motorcycle, the military mandates that you take a motorcycle course every year or every 2 years, because they know, if you're in the military, you've got a high risk-taking level. It's just the way it is. You got that adrenaline rush. And the military knows there's no way really to reduce that risk-taking level. Maybe if you're a military, you're a soldier, maybe when you get to your 70s, it might slow down a little bit. So what the military is doing is they're mandating good risk offset. They're mandating that you take the additional courses because they know it's kind of impossible to reduce your risk-taking level. So they're increasing your skill level by forcing you to take the additional courses. So maybe we want to do exactly what the military does. Maybe you want to take the additional courses to increase that skill level. Why? Well, give you another example. Why the police, firefighters, why the military, why do they train so much? They're doing the same things over and over and over again. Why? It's boring. Well, the reason why is you want to develop that muscle memory, because when the bell rings, when the emergency occurs, you're on automatic pilot. You know exactly what to do because you trained and trained and trained. It's kind of the same thing on a motorcycle. So constant training is one of the best ways to avoid a motorcycle crash. So take the additional courses. So when you're in a situation, you know what to do. You don't panic. Right? Now, here's a real good reason to observe the speed limit when you ride that motorcycle, because the excessive speed crashes on a motorcycle are more fatal than the speed limit crashes. Life is a matter of choices. Let's talk about the path of travel to a curve. We're going to end it up with this. What's the best path to travel to a curve? This is something that you don't think about when you're in a car, because when you're in a car, you take up the entire width of the lane. Let's talk about here. Now, you can choose any path of travel. If you watch that MSF Basic E-course, you saw there's 27 different path of travels. You saw a few of them in the E-course. But basically, you want to select the lane position and path based on traffic, road conditions, the type of curve, your riding skill level, your comfort level. Let's get a little bit more into this. Let's take a look at two path of travels. Now, the reason why there's 27, excuse me. So, as you approach the turn, your approach speed or your entrance, whatever, you got three positions you can be in. You can be in LP1, you can be LP2, you can be LP3. So you can be in the left, center, or right as you approach. And again, when you get to the apex, where the turn bends the most, you can be in the left, center, or right. So you got three choices there. And when you pass the apex, again, you have the choice to be in the left, center, or right. So it's three over here, three over here, three over here. And if you're good at math, multiply it out. You do have 27 different variables. So let's talk about two path of travels. This one over here on the left is called middle, middle, middle. It's the safest path of travel. So as you're approaching the curve, you're in the middle, LP2. As you're approaching the apex, where the turn bends the most, you stay in the middle. And as you pass the apex, again, you stay in that middle. So that's why it's called middle, middle, middle. So if there's any oncoming cars, you don't have to worry about that. And again, it's a little bit easier and safer to go through the turn middle, middle, middle. Now, the other one, which is very popular, is called outside, inside, outside. It's the ideal path to travel when conditions are ideal. You got no potholes, whatever it might be. So the ideal, and a lot of races use this path to travel too. So now you're going to start from the outside, that LP1 position. And as you approach the apex, you're going to move into the inside position. And then when you pass the apex, you're going to go back out to the outside. So it's outside, inside, outside. Let's talk a little bit more about this. So what section of the lane is to the outside? So if the curve is to the right, as in figure 1 here, what section is going to be the outside? Well, the answer is it's going to be LP1. Now, if the curve is to the left, with that red Ducati going to the left in figure 2, the outside is going to be LP3. All right. So, again, the benefits of outside, inside, outside, again, it's for riders who have good riding skills. It allows you to see further through the turn because you're to the outside. It also, if you're to the outside, you can see any hazards around the turn sooner. And if you notice the path of travel, it straightens out the curve. If you take a look at these two, by going outside, inside, outside, you're leaning less. Because if you go middle, 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 you got to lean a little bit more. So by going outside, inside, outside, you're leaning less, which maximizes what? Again, it goes back to that T word, traction. And traction is crucial on a motorcycle because you only have two wheels. All right? Traction. Now, you definitely want to go outside, inside, outside on a wet road because a wet road is going to reduce traction a little bit. But again, just go outside, inside on a wet road and you'll be okay there. Now, one of the best ways that I came up with to remember the ideal path of travel outside, inside, outside was that Ricky Martin song, Living La Vida Loca, where you go outside, inside. So, again, just a little bit of tip to help you to remember that outside, inside, outside path of travel. Okay, thanks for watching. Hopefully, we helped you out a little bit here on the curves and prevent you from getting into curve crashes. Again, my name is Dave Bellizzi. I run the Motorcycle Safety Training School at Montclair State University called the Riding Academy of New Jersey. Again, we're not part of Montclair State University. We just rent one of their parking lots on the weekends for our training. And if you go to our website, the Riding Academy of NJ, you can see the different motorcycle courses that we offer. You can register for one of our courses. And if you go to the Riding Tips page on our website, you will see this video if you want to watch it again and share it with your friends. It's also going to be available on YouTube, on our channel, and again, if you follow us on Facebook and Instagram, we'll have it there. So stay well, be safe, take care out there.